Hi, James Hayes, Don's Appliances. I'm here with Rob Sobek, Don's Appliances.
Hi.
So today we're going to be talking about microwaves and everything you might ever want to know about microwaves, and maybe some things that you don't want to know about microwaves, but there's someone out there that does.
Hold on to your seat. It's
Yeah.
an exciting one.
Yeah. So anyway, the general categories of microwaves, they really break down into countertop, over the range. There's built-ins, which are generally going to be just countertops or trim kits.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have the actual like built-in style, like drop doors that kind of mimic like a wall oven. And there
Right.
could be a couple of different styles there. And drawers.
Yeah, microwave
huge.
drawers.
Yeah.
That's only like 75% of our microwave business.
Yeah, for sure. So, I don't know. What do you think the pluses or minuses are to some of those, Bob?
I would say style-wise, a lot of designers are coming in calling out for the microwave drawer.
Sure.
They want to get it, off of upper cabinetry. They want to get it out of a pantry-style cabinet. They want to put it under the counter. They want to hide it. They don't want people to see it. They love the drawer. So design-wise, that's definitely where the demand is. Consumers definitely see the pricing of like a countertop microwave with a built-in kit. Some being in the range of $500 to $700 versus a microwave drawer being anywhere from $1,100 to $2,000, and think, wow, it's a huge savings. But what we know here on the retail side in the showroom is microwave with trim kit is probably the worst thing to replace. And you do it a lot more often than you would want to.
That is accurate. Yeah, they are. You have to really be careful with your cutout dimensions and everything else with those. And you'll find out that even though there's realistically only 3 or 4 companies that make all the microwaves for everybody, they somehow seem to have different cutout dimensions for every single one.
Every couple of years they change too.
Yeah.
On top of that, you
Yeah.
know, so it's almost like they want you to have to modify your cabinet and get the new trim kit every 2 to 4 years, maybe. Would you say
that's
countertop
accurate.
microwaves? That's about right.
Yeah, I would say if you do 5 years, you're done well.
Yeah, and putting a trim kit around it doesn't make it last longer.
Yeah. Now, I would say microwave drawers tend to last a little bit longer, and sometimes they're a little bit easier to replace.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, there's 2 sizes. They're 24 by 30. In general, there's one manufacturer that manufactures all of them for everybody, so the dimensions tend to be pretty much the same across the board, so it makes it pretty easy. And from a design standpoint, yeah, it gets it off your counter, it gets it out of the way. I would say that the other option that a lot of people like to get it off the counter is over the range, which works, but I mean, from a designer standpoint, they probably don't care for it as much. But then also, you think you're putting a microwave over top a heat source with steam and grease and everything else. I would say that they also have a fairly short lifespan. I'd say if you do 5 to 6 years out of those, you've done really, really
Especially
well.
if you cook.
Yeah,
like
if you cook a lot.
it's not about how much you microwave in an over the range microwave.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how much you cook underneath it.
Yeah.
That's what kind of makes the lifespan go up or down. It's how much you cook. And I mean, just looking over here in the display we're in, you have a cooktop that's putting out probably 75,000 BTUs into a fan that's 400 CFMs and maybe like, I don't know, 10 square inches of capture area.
Yeah.
So microwave hoods are mostly microwaves and they're just barely hoods.
Accurate. Now, in all those categories, though, you have a conventional microwave versus a convection, because Sharp has the convection microwave drawer now, and it's proprietary to Sharp because they own the patent on microwave drawers. They make them for everybody, so they keep that for their lineup.
Right.
But you can also do that in over-the-range microwaves and countertop microwaves if you wanted to get into that. There's a few of those left out there as well. Mm-hmm. But, convection microwaves are really just a microwave with a baking element added into it and a little fan on the side. So think of it as the same idea as your air fryer on your counter, or maybe a toaster oven built into a microwave. So it gives you a little bit of extra flexibility.
And that brings up a great point. A toaster oven versus an air fryer versus a microwave. You're seeing the air fry button getting added onto. Mm-hmm. It seems like every microwave that we sell at this point.
Yeah.
And all air fry is just convection, which I think we covered in a separate podcast.
We did.
So go find that down, back a couple of weeks. But what beyond that, replacing a toaster oven, the word that comes up is speed oven a lot. So Can you differentiate between convection microwave versus a speed oven, which also has convection, but what does it have that a convection microwave doesn't?
Well, I usually break it down for customers in the sense that it's more like the ideas are similar, but how you interact with them are differently. And we touched on it before the podcast. Usually a speed oven has like a broiling element in it. So a speed oven is going to be more of an oven with some microwaving capacity added to it. And then a convection microwave is going to be a microwave with some baking elements added to it. And they sound kind of similar, but how you interact with them is usually different. Also, speed ovens are going to typically be like a drop door style. It's going to mimic a wall oven. It's just going to be a little bit smaller. There's some really cool stuff out there. GE has that Avantium that they talk about all the time. And really, it's just a speed oven with halogen added to it. That gives you a couple extra features. But when you start talking about some speed ovens, those are where you're going to start seeing like the longer lifespans over, depending on the brand, of course.
It's built like a wall oven. I mean,
exactly.
The chassis is a wall oven chassis, not a microwave chassis.
100%. And they're just built to last longer. So, and you start looking at brands like, Wolf has some great speed ovens. Miele has great ones. We just put in that nice Gaggenau display back there. We have their speed oven in.
Come see that.
Yeah, it's great stuff. So, you can stick a cup of hot water in a speed oven and heat it up. But then when you're done, if you wanted to, bake muffins or something in there, it's actually a full-fledged oven.
Right.
So, to that point, I guess you could technically bake cookies in the convection microwave too. It's just form factor maybe isn't quite set up for that.
It's not made to take like a quarter sheet pan or something along those lines, whereas like a Wolf speed oven, a Miele speed oven, they have like either a glass or a metal oven rack in there to facilitate, oven utilities.
Yeah.
But we also have to highlight the fact of whether if you have an existing drop door microwave of some kind or an existing built-in microwave and you want to move to a speed oven, what we run into is electrical work.
So a lot of speed ovens are going to require like a 220, either a 20 or 30 amp circuit to it, where convection microwaves like 110, so 15, 20 amp. So sometimes they're not always convertible back and forth, with the exception of Bosch and GE.
Right.
Yeah, they do offer a 110 drop door speed oven. It just takes a little longer to get it up to temperature, but it will do the same stuff.
And those units that are 110 and even some that are 220 are going to have a broil element similar to an electric range or an electric wall oven with a cowl rod element up at the top. Whereas if you get into the higher end, you get into the Thermadors, the Wolfs, the Mieles, you're going to see like a quartz insert element for the broiler. So it's going to have a much larger surface area in the way of the heat, and it's going to be a lot more even and not have like a 7-pass or an 8-pass element. So as you move up in the lineups, generally the voltage can increase from 110 to 220, but you'll see amps kind of go up. You'll see moving over from like an American style plug outlet to a NEMA style outlet made more for European market. So you got to make sure that your people are reading specs. If you're doing a kitchen project and you buy a speed oven.
Yeah. It's not just a standard hookup like you think of with a lot of other stuff that's out there. But that's what Bob and I are here for.
Right, yes.
We point it out. And then, if you want to learn a little bit more about that, obviously come down to Canonsburg and visit us or check out donsappliances.com. There's all kinds of information and specs and anything you'd ever want to know there.